This is Doug from Dynamic Computing, and welcome to another episode of the Chicken Head Chronicles. This is about a brand new Commodore 64 game that just came out in the last week or so. Now, you may have heard of the game before. It's called Portal, made by a little company called Valve. Now, this is the Commodore 64 port. Has nothing to do with the original game that came out in 2007. That Valve has nothing to do with it. Just a couple of people who love the game ported Portal. See what I did there? Ported. Never mind. Now, Jamie Fuller did the coding on this. Fantastic job. Programming is absolutely beautiful. Del Seymour handled the graphics, and I think you'll agree when we bring it up on the screen that this is a gorgeous looking game for a Commodore 64. And Roy Whitting handled the audio and sound. Now, personally, audio and sound is a huge part of a game for me. The kind of games where the audio tracks and the music stick in your head for years, like, Morrowind or Oblivion or something like that, are just incredible. And Portal was one of those where the audio was just fantastic. The songs were fantastic. And these guys did a great job of using and abusing our precious little SID chip to make the audio absolutely fantastic. Now, of course, this version takes place in a 2D environment instead of the traditional 3D FPS environment that our normal Portal would have. But the game's humor comes through, the game's charm comes through, GLaDOS is there, the yummy cake is there, everything that made the game memorable they've tried to duplicate in 2D on a 64K Commodore 64. So let's take a look at the game. Now the game comes right off of the guy's website. I'll post a link to it right there. As a standard PRG file. Of course, you can play this with the Vice emulator if you want to, or you can do the real thing and copy it over to your Commodore 64 or Commodore 128 using like an SD to IEC, like I reviewed a week or so ago, or an Ultimate 2 cartridge, put it on a flash drive, or however you get your files over to your Commodore 64. It's a .d64 file. The PRG file's right in there, no problems at all. Now, let's switch over to the screen, and you'll notice that we start out the game with a nice rendered picture of Shell there holding the portal gun, and we get space to start. Now, on the initial screen, it starts up with the incredible music and really nice graphics too, right? Nice characters. First option, F1 to start using the 1531 mouse if you're lucky enough to own one. The game plays better with a mouse from what I understand. F3 starts with a joystick, which is how I'll be trying it out here. I don't own a mouse yet for the Commodore 64. F5 will let you choose a level. At the end of every level, you'll see they leave you a nice little level code, so you're able to zap back to a level if you start the game over. And just listen to that music. They did such a nice job with those the SID chip programming. Let's do F3 to start. Now, on each new level, GLaDOS appears and gives a nice helpful and often sarcastic hint. The first few levels are meant just to get you familiar with the controls and your abilities. Shell is an expert jumper, and she's controlled the A and D key to move left and right, the W key to jump, and the E key to interact with the environment. The joystick or the 1531 mouse is used to aim and fire your portal gun. And be aware that the keyboard-only controls will make it a bit of a challenge to run on a C64 Mini, but just adding any USB keyboard to the C64 Mini should make it work just fine. So let's start the game. We'll skip this to start. And you see we've got Shell here moving back and forth. And see how she jumps. Now, the object of this level, we don't have our portal gun yet, is to get across these little bits of water here. And she can jump on these little bouncy trampolines. Now notice, you have full control of her. When she's jumping, you can can stop and start and restart moving at any time. So we'll just see if we can get this in the first. Okay, yeah. Go back. See, you jump right back into action. Boing, and we get Shell across the room here. Now Gladys comes on and gives us our next hint. And she's telling us all about our little storage cubes, which we love so much from the original game. Now, this is where I found one bug, and I'm sure everybody else on the planet's found it too. Right here, if you hit that little black area on the screen, Shell goes crazy and she starts bouncing around like crazy, and it just screws up the game, and you have to exit it and restart it. So avoid that until you get the bug fixed out. Now, see the little platform there that I stand on and the wall disappears? I'm going to jump over there. Then I'm going to hit E to release a cube. Hello, little cube. And now E to pick it up. Now Shell's carrying the cube, and she can jump just as high as she could before. And we'll just press E again to drop the cube off. So you can see the controls are really quite nice in here. And we finish level 2. And she's telling us all about our Aperture Science gun here. Now, here's a good point. The portal gun can only be used to fire at the gray spots on the screen, the light gray areas. So if you take your portal gun and you fire anywhere else, nothing's going to happen. All right? Now, there are occasions when a portal will already exist. So if you saw at the beginning of the level there was an orange portal on the right-hand side, and while I was giving a demo of what the portal gun was going to do, I cleared out that orange portal. I probably won't be able to complete the level now. So let's just restart. This will be a good time to use the code XDDFC, looks right. So F5, XDDFC. And start. And you can see I'm right back where we began. So you see that they have an orange portal already on the right hand side. Now my pointer is actually blue. Now look what happens if I change it with the R button, changes it to orange. If I were to click the button now, that would create a new orange portal in completely the wrong place. So there are times you need to make sure your portal is set correctly. I'm going to keep mine blue, press the button, the two flashing portals mean they're connected, and now Shell can go and do her thing. Whee! Through the portal. Okay, now that we're on the other side, we can play around a little bit, and you can see what I'm talking about with the color. There's an orange one. That makes an orange portal. Now it turns blue, and it will cycle through orange and blue, and you can change that by hitting the R button. We'll finish that level off. Cake and grief counseling will be available at the end of the test. Don't step in front of those turret guns. Now that's pretty good advice. Now, there are times with the keyboard that it's real easy to mess up W and E because your fingers are right on the keyboard and you go to hit the E and you accidentally hit the W. There's been more than one time that I've accidentally jumped up in front of a turret, so just be careful. Skip into here. See, there's our happy little turret. We can drop it down there, and now we'll release our cube. Hey. And you saw what I did there with that little trap that opens up the gate. We have to pick up our cube. Come on, Shell. Drop our cube off there. Now, if we just drop down immediately, we're going to get butchered by that turret. It's going to shoot the daylights out of us. So what we want to do, make sure we have a blue one. There's the blue one. Up here, we're going to create a blue portal. So we're going to drop down on the opposite side of the turret where he can't hit us, but we have to time it just right when we drop and immediately go in there and drop into the area. So it takes some getting used to. Now, Shell must jump and use her portal gun and manipulate objects to defeat each screen and reach the exit. The game does get more difficult with the challenges throughout its 20 levels, and I won't spoil more than the first few here to let you discover the rest of them on your own. But you see already the levels are getting more complicated with where you have to put portals, and some portals already exist. So it gets quite a bit more complicated. That's the only place we can put a portal. So I assume it has to go up there somehow. But we're going to get machine gunned right away, aren't we? This level tricked us by thinking we had to do something to get that storage cube, but we didn't. We just had to create a portal and get over there. So you can see the game is basically a puzzle game, a platforming puzzle game. The joystick works okay with the game, absolutely perfectly acceptable. I can definitely see where the mouse would enhance things substantially. With the joystick, you're using one hand to control Shell, and then you have to stop in place, pick up the joystick, aim your gun, and then get it just precise, and then boom, shoot it, and then you can go back to moving Shell. Where with the mouse and the keyboard, it's going to work more like an FPS would, where you're controlling Shell and moving and firing the gun at the same time. Now, luckily, this game doesn't require that. The guys knew that most people were going to be playing with a joystick probably. So they made it absolutely workable without the joystick. Now, the graphics, as you saw, are really, really well done. The guys did a great job. Nice color, nice quality, no complaints. The audio, though, is absolutely incredible, if you ask me. They did such a nice job on the music and on the sounds, and they take full advantage of the SID chip. Gameplay is very good. No complaints about the gameplay, barring the minor control issues I was telling you about, where sometimes you mean to jump and you hit E, or you hit E and you mean to jump. It's easy to get past that, no problem at all. Using the mouse and the keyboard, favored control scheme. The ending of the game, if you guys remember the original Portal game and how funny the ending was, with the song Still Alive, you guys are going to be very, very happy with the ending of this game. I'm not going to spoil it, get to it yourself, but they did a great job on the ending. The game is very short, 20-25 minutes, and that includes me getting used to the controls, playing with things, experimenting, done in 20 or 25 minutes. I would say that if you really sat down and concentrated on it, you'd probably beat the game in 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes easy. But it does have a reasonable replay value, just because it's so cool and you want to hear the music again. Now, there's no points and no scoring that I can see anywhere on the game. So it's not like, you're trying to beat your best time and it keeps track of it, or you're trying to beat, a certain number of points. So you're just going to want to replay it just because it's such a cool game. Now, for a totally free game, 100% free, this is incredible. Download it today. Put it on Vice, put it on your 64 Mini, put it on your real C64 or 128. Play this game. It's great. Absolutely great. Now, if you had to pay for this game, I would say the guys would have to make it longer, 45 minutes or an hour, put in some more levels, 40 levels, something like that, if they were going to charge for it, But they're not, so it's great. Now, I hope the guys at Valve see this game and get warm fuzzies and appreciate it for what it is. Just a labor of love and a token of respect for the guys at Valve. 5 chicken heads out of 5 for this in all departments. Get the game. It's fun. It's a treat. You'll enjoy it. So, this is Doug from the Chicken Head Chronicles, signing out.